Welcome to the Speak Your Piece podcast. My name is Ian McNaughton. Thank you for joining us. This is being recorded Tuesday night. What's today, the 16th, Scott?
Yes, February 16th, 2021.
And joining us tonight is SYP creator Scott, who is back after a 1 week absence.
I needed some time off, people. Ian gave me the week to have a good vacation and enjoy the start of reading break. Not gonna lie, I got a little sauced a couple days ago, but hey, here we are. We're back. We're vibing. We're living the dream. So we'll get after it today.
Scott was on the COVID protocol list this week.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that he
undisclosed injury. How about that?
Well, I was gonna say, just because you're on the protocol list doesn't mean you have COVID. You're
exactly.
You're just on the list. So today, not gonna lie, I struggled to find stuff to talk about this week, but we managed to get enough topics for it this week. It's more of a house cleaning pod. We're just going over some in-house SYP related stuff. We'll start with hoodies. So obviously we're selling hoodies, Speak Your Piece hoodies. We're hoping to do them through Source for Sports and Squamish. Logo, if you haven't checked, go to our story, look at our post. Logo looks really nice. The hoodies look really nice. We got the link in our bio. Go share your interest. Go tell us that you're interested in hoodies so we can get it set up. For hoodies, Scott, thank you very much for that. What are your thoughts on our hoodies?
I love them. I think they're sick. They're a little more simple than our shirts, and I think that was kind of by design, so people can wear them with a bunch of things, and it's, you wear it like under like a tracksuit or under a jacket, or you can wear it as is, and yeah, it's super cool for sure. So they'll be good hoodies. People will like them, and it should be it'll be good. Hopefully there's lots of interest, and hopefully we get a good amount of people interested in them. I know the shirts the shirts did really well for us, and we're hoping maybe we'll drop those again in the future. And if you guys have any suggestions, DM us, shoot us a text, be like, yo, like we want to see this, we want to see that. We'll do our best to fit everyone. So
yeah, I mean the hoodies, I'm definitely like gonna be like hoodie under the jersey type guy at parties. Like that's probably gonna be my move. I think once, if I do go back to parties after the pandemic, I'm definitely gonna be jersey guy at the pandemic. That's or at the parties after the pandemic. That's probably the move.
We were jersey and then pre-pandemic too.
But then if I'm not going to be jersey guy, then I'm going to be hoodie guy, and I'm going to be wearing hoodies and clothing to parties post pandemic. Although I remember, I think one New Year's Eve party that we went to, someone was upset at me, like glad handing and trying to promote Speak Your Piece. So not great, but I'm still going to do it anyways. Fuck it. Saturday selection. So obviously we've had a couple of controversies with Saturday selections for the last 2 weeks now. We've obviously had hashtag Keefgate, which is honestly pretty funny. I mean, Keef pretty much roasted me.
It was more funny than bad, honestly. Like super honest mistake. Didn't even know what he was doing, and
yeah, he did. He knew what he was fucking doing. Don't give him the benefit of the doubt.
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. Keef, if you're
don't give him the benefit.
I'm on Team Keef here. It was an honest mistake. You still fucked up, but honest mistake.
Whatever you do, don't go follow. I don't even know what the name of his fitness account is, but don't.
At @KeefR_fitness.
Yeah, whatever you do, don't follow that account on Instagram. No, I'm not giving him the benefit. Like he admitted, like, yeah, you know what? If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So fair enough to Keef. But then this past week, where we had the Free Jonas movement, because our buddy Jonas picked the games after they'd already been completed to try and get an advantage in Saturday selections. Now, I shall say, I usually vet those. Like I usually have an idea, because I've checked. Like I usually check a few times throughout the day, like who's all voted and making sure like when games happen and whatnot. So I'm usually vetting those people who are picking at the very end anyways. But because I was requested to kind of call out Jonas, I felt it was felt like I had to. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is.
Same thing. Like you fucked up, and you're gonna get called out for it. You're gonna hear about it. And again, Speak Your Piece is pretty, or Saturday selections is pretty pretty chill about that. But again, it's, you still got to follow the rules, right? So
someone else complained about, you know, if they don't know when the event, like what time events are. Well, I mean, just pick them and.
Hey, maybe that'll be something that the new SYP Saturday Selections host will incorporate into the event.
So let's segue into that. So in case you don't know, I'm back with the Everett Silver Tips for their upcoming season. I'm already pretty busy, but we got the Silver Tips gig coming up. Their season is starting March 19th, I believe it is. And I will be with them mostly on Fridays and Saturdays doing their social, covering the game for them here in Vancouver. With that being said, your new Saturday Selections, I guess, host creator is Scotty K. Scott, congratulations on being named the new Saturday Selections host. How do you feel about that?
Honestly, it's a huge honor. I'm very excited, looking forward to it. And I know I'm taking some more responsibility from Ian here. And, again, this is kind of me stepping up in the brand and helping out a little bit. And it's 1 day a week. So it's something, and I'm going to try and make it as fun as possible. And we'll have some fun with it. Maybe we'll incorporate some pop culture Saturday selections of sorts. We'll see. I have some ideas churning right now. So it'll be good for sure.
And again, this is all Scott. Like, Scott has the full, like leeway on this. Like, he can do whatever he wants. Like, I'm not, in case you're wondering, I'm not telling Scott how to do any of this. Like, he gets Saturdays to do all the selections he wants. Like, just in case people think this is just some sort of, proxy Saturday selections that is going to be happening. That's not the case. Scott has full control. We've talked about this for a few weeks now, but he is starting this. I think your first day you're going to do it is the 20th, because the 19th, March 20th. March 20th. So the 19th is the Friday. So Scott will be doing that March 20th. Look out for that. The new Saturday selections, new and improved, maybe, ? Who knows? Possibly.
I have a tough task to follow, but we'll do my best and we'll see what happens for sure.
And then finally, the third thing we should just let people know about, summer events. So nothing is confirmed or planned yet. Right now, we're looking at doing SYP Olympics. We're looking at doing some sort of golf tournament. We're looking at doing some sort of streaming events, like plural events. So we will let you know when we come up with that information, when information is available. But just an FYI, we're doing events.
And a lot of it's going to be based on the pandemic and how the situation is here in British Columbia, and if we're allowed to do stuff, and if we're allowed to go hang out and see the guys, and have people like around. And the streaming, I'm sure will happen, whatever that looks like, and that'll help happen for sure. The golf tournament's likely to happen just because it's something that you can very easily do socially distant, and we a few of us have connections with golf courses and stuff, and we can figure that out when it comes.
I was going to say, I should mention, though, for the SYP Olympics, obviously Squamish is a big contender to host this year. I should mention our other candidate contenders, province of Alberta, because they're open and they don't give a shit about COVID. The province of Ontario, I have connections with the province of Ontario. We hear that Sault Ste. Marie is beautiful in summertime, so maybe we'll look at Ontario hosting. Same with Texas. Texas does not give a shit about COVID. They have been, more than happy to accommodate us, give us tax breaks and all that sort of fun stuff. And then, well, I was going to get to Florida. Obviously, Florida, they mentioned about how they can host the Summer Olympics if Tokyo cannot this summer. Their alternative, if they can't host the IOC Summer Olympics, is the SYP Summer Olympics. So we'll see if we can work with Florida, possibly do something Miami maybe. But yeah, just shout out Alberta, shout out Ontario, Texas, Florida, the open states who haven't given a shit about a pandemic for about a year now. They are potentially hosting the Olympics as well. And we'll see where it goes. Squamish, again, leading contender, but you never know, right? You never know what kind of tax breaks and, financial benefits you can get by doing stuff in the States. We'll see. Moving on, outside of the SYP events and things within Speak Your Piece, do you want to talk about the Leafs loss first? Is that the first thing that we have to address here?
I think it's the first thing on the agenda. I think we should address it for sure.
So the Leafs blew a 5-1?
it was a 4-goal lead, so they were down 5-1. The Leafs were up 5-1 halfway through second period.
So, okay. Let me just start by saying this is not their worst loss that they've suffered. Like
No.
the David Ayres loss was worse.
I would say the Game 7 2013 loss to Boston was worse.
That was the worst. Let's just say that the Leafs have had some historic collapses.
The collapse is plural, yeah.
Collapse is plural. Like this is one of many horrible losses for the Maple Leafs. I think if we had to rank them, I think the David Ayres loss would be number one. And pick any Boston game would be number two. Losing to Ottawa would be number three, and pick a Columbus game from last year's playoffs. I guess how I would rank them.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you there, and I personally think the 2013 Game 7 against Boston, that was the most heartbreaking loss because they're up 4-1 with 10 minutes left, absolutely dominating the game, and they just let the Bruins walk all over them for the last 10 minutes and change in overtime, like brutal. But you're right, like the David Ayres loss is quite something. You literally pay this guy to sit on like in the stands as your backup.
Yes, he was your emergency backup.
The Leafs literally paid him to beat their team. Like it wasn't a good look for Toronto, and but it made for a great story. One of the stories of 2020 for sure.
I think another storyline takeaway from this game is Ottawa better than we think they are? ? I mean, I think we both agree that they have some pieces that we like. I obviously have a man crush on Brady Tkachuk. You obviously have a man crush on Jimmy Stützle.
Yeah.
Ottawa might be better than we think.
I don't know. That's a hot take. I think people think Ottawa is going to be 7th, and they're going to be right. And that was the general consensus throughout all of the NHL. Anyone you ask, like, who's going to be worse than Ottawa? No one. Like, every other team's got some sort of chance to make the playoffs. Ottawa had no chance to make the playoffs whatsoever. And being in the division that they are, they're going to get slaughtered most nights. And for whatever reason, they've shown up against the Leafs, and they've beaten
the Habs.
And the Habs too, yeah. It's whatever it is. It's maybe their young guys step up those games, and like they'll get up for the games against their own division in the actual, in real NHL seasons. And it's really interesting to see how that team is doing well against the Leafs and the Habs, who are the two top teams in the North Division, by the way. So I don't know.
I was going to say, I think it might have something to do with DJ Smith, who's their head coach. He used to coach Toronto. He was their assistant at one time in Toronto. So maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. I just think like they obviously have some good pieces. Their depth is awful. They just brought back Ryan Dzingel recently. So Dzingel might be...
he's got a quarantine for 2 weeks, so we're not going to see him for 7 or 8 games.
Yeah, so that you're not going to see him until March at least. So there's that. I mean, Matt Murray, I know we've ridiculed Matt Murray a bit just because he is not turned, at least I've ridiculed Matt Murray just because he hasn't turned out to be the goal that we kind of thought that he was. But I mean, his defense, I was going to say his defense isn't good either.
And that's just it. Like it's the team. I think it's more about the team in front of him. That's not good, as opposed to him not being good. Like he's an okay goalie. I would personally say he's a top 20 goalie in the NHL. Like he's got some good numbers. He's a decent to good number 1 goalie in the NHL. He can stop the puck. Albeit in Pittsburgh, he looked better because he had a better team in front of him, as opposed to Ottawa, who are comprised of rookies and second years and players that don't know how to drive the play.
I think Murray is like the Mendoza line of like starting goaltenders. Like if you have Matt Murray, you can contend for a cup potentially. Like you
kind of like the baseline goal you get. Like
yes,
Yeah.
Anything less than Murray, you're probably not contending for a cup. You might not be making the playoffs.
Yeah.
Anything more, and you are definitely a contending team. And of course, the story from last night's game has to be the Toronto Maple Leafs collapsing once again and falling apart when they should have won. We discussed this last night on our buddy Jevon's pod, Left Side Heavy. Go check that out. Are you worried about the Maple Leafs?
No, I'm not worried at all. You look at how they play and their ability to move the puck and how good they are. They're a really good team, and they're far better than they have been in past years. And again, let's not forget, they're in a tough-ish division, and playing against the Western teams that are a little more heavy, that are used to that heavier style of game. The Eastern teams are more skilled, a little more kind of finesse and pizzazz to their game, where the West is a little more heavy. They're doing great against the Western teams, and then Montreal have been back and forth, obviously, same with Ottawa. I'm not worried. I have the Leafs in the playoffs. They're definitely make the playoffs, and they'll probably be first or second place.
I was gonna say, I can't really be concerned about the Leafs until the playoffs come. Like, I think they're a really good regular season team.
Mm-hmm.
I think the team is much better suited for this type of season than maybe they have it in years past. And maybe it's the Wayne Simmons factor too, like not having him in the lineup to have a bunch of grit. And I think I said this before the season, where the Leafs just needed someone in their locker room just to say, like, what the fuck are we actually doing, guys? Like, what's going on here? And
here's the thing with that is they got three of those guys, really. And now Muzzin's got in his full year with the team, and actual fresh start to the year. Like, you think about the team now. Like, I look at a guy like Thornton, guy like Bogosian, guy like Simmons, and you could even throw like Justin Hall in there. Yeah, he's a younger guy, but he's got some grit. He brings a bit of bite to his game. He's also cut to his good shot over what's his name? A couple days ago. He rifled over Carey Price.
Carey Price, yes, Carey Price.
Rifled a slap shot from the slot over his shoulder, and yeah, it's just those kind of players. Those are what the Leafs needed, and I think they'll be at least more effective in the playoffs. They'll get through a playoff round. How about that?
I was gonna say, even like Zach Hyman.
Yeah.
Like Zach Hyman's like probably, like, obviously I love Matthews and Marner as much as the next guy, but Zach Hyman is a guy who I think has the, attitude to say, what the fuck are we actually doing? Like, we can't be losing these kind of games. Absolutely. And you need those kind of guys in the locker room with a younger-ish team like Toronto, a little immature team like Toronto is, and then, like you mentioned, Bogosian, Thornton, Simmons, even a little Justin Hall, someone to just say, like, we need to step it up. We can't be losing games like this.
And here's the thing with, again, you mentioned Matthews too. He's looked way better this year than the last few years, and a lot of that, I think, him and McDavid trained in Arizona in the summer, and I think that did a lot for him. Because you could kind of watch McDavid close up and be like, okay, how this guy's skating? The biggest concern for me was Matthews' ability to skate. And that in years past, he looked kind of slow, looked kind of sluggish. Whatever he did this year, he maybe lost a few pounds, maybe just improved his stride, whatever it was. He looks way quicker, way more dominant, and that's because of his speed. His defensemen have to back off now and give him that space. So it's just opening up things for him, and that's why he leads the league. He's got 11 goals now, right?
I was going to say, Matthews, we talked about it last night. Matthews is arguably a Hart candidate with how he's been playing this year and how he's been looking for the Leafs. Even Mitch Marner. I think Mitch Marner deserves some praise as well. Like, he's had a really solid season, stepping up when needed. And I'm not worried about this team. No. You're not worried about this team.
There's no reason to.
And kind of
great, then there's a concern. But right now there's no reason to.
And even I know it's really being optimistic, and this team has had those kind of collapses before, but shit does happen. It happens, and just like you have a loss like this every once in a while.
Like, I remember last year, I think Tampa Bay lost like 8-2 to I don't remember exactly what team it was, but their team wasn't very good, and they went once with the Stanley Cup. St. Louis was in last place the year they won the cup.
Yeah.
So like in January, and then they came all the way back. So
it's a roller coaster of a season. Like you're never gonna be high like all season. You're never gonna you're gonna have peaks and valleys.
It seldom happens. I don't remember the last President's Trophy winner to win the Stanley Cup. It's been a while from what I remember.
I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Was that one of the Blackhawks team?
I think it might have been. Let me look. Let me just check that.
Sure, you pull that up. But yeah, and you know, like with how this season is, you really can't games like this are really just for the media to like make fun of and just to overhype and way overanalyze. Like you have to play tomorrow night you have to play Wednesday against Ottawa. You have to play Thursday or Friday against Ottawa or Montreal. Like you have a quick schedule this year and you're playing the same teams. Like you can't be hung up on that too much.
Right. So, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. I've got an answer for you. So
yes,
there have been 4 teams that have won the President's Trophy and the Stanley Cup since we were born. So 1999, 2000. And that was Colorado in 01.
Yep.
Your Detroit Red Wings in 02.
Yep.
Wings again in 08. And then the Blackhawks. You're right. The Blackhawks were the last team in 2013.
I was going to say it was either the 2013 team or the 2015 team for Chicago.
13.
Who won in 15? The President's Trophy, if you have that right there.
I think it was either San Jose or Tampa Bay. Let me find out.
Was it maybe Pittsburgh?
Let's find out.
Anyways, yeah. So Leafs fans, don't worry. You got nothing to worry about. You're fine. Your team's still really good.
Yes, the New York Rangers, who are not doing as fine, won in 2015, and that was the year after they went to the Cup final with Lundqvist and Stepan and McNaughton.
God, that
exactly.
I was gonna say Henrik Lundqvist after losing that Stanley Cup, like that's the most deflated I think I've ever seen an athlete lose.
Oh, for sure.
Let's talk about something also not as pleasant, quite negative. COVID-19 and events and hosting events during COVID-19. Yeah. So obviously this weekend, there are Lake Tahoe NHL outdoor games. Vegas is playing Colorado, I believe Saturday. Yes. Boston is playing Philadelphia on Sunday. And then there's the NBA All-Star game, which I don't really care. I don't know what date that is. I'm going to say it's March 7th, but I don't know for sure what day.
It's in early March. I don't remember.
It's in early March. It's still 2-3 weeks away. So my question to you is, should we be having these events, and why are we having these events? It's kind of a twofold question here.
So you're right. I'll break it into 2 parts, and I agree. So the Lake Tahoe outdoor games, I'm all for it. Then a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's outside. There's not going to be any fans. It's a pretty isolated part of North America. Lake Tahoe is not all that busy, and during a pandemic, it will be even less busy. And I think that will really kind of I don't know. I just think the outdoor games are so cool, and just being on an outdoor rink and playing outside to me is just like the pinnacle of okay, we're living the dream right now. This is what it should be like. And I'm all for it. And I think the players love playing outdoors. And for the Eastern teams, it might suck getting to Tahoe, but you're not going to get that opportunity all the time. So I'm all for it. Vegas' first outdoor game, by the way. So that'll be cool. In terms of the NBA All-Star game, LeBron said it best. Why? Why are we doing this event? It's stupid. There's no reason to have an event like this where you're bringing a bunch of players together. Yeah, they're all they're buddy after games, but at least you're not getting a bunch of guys. And then when you're at this and you go back to your teams, and let's just say 3 people get COVID, 3 of the All-Stars get COVID. That's 3 full teams that are possibly at risk. So it's a real tough one. And the United States is different, and we're not living there, and who knows what protocols are like down there, because we just don't know. Where is the All-Star game being hosted?
Atlanta.
It's in Atlanta. Okay, so it's further south. So my guess, I have no clue. My guess is that restrictions won't be as severe as it would be in a New York or a Los Angeles or a Seattle or Portland, or a northern-ish state.
I get the out, like you say, I get the outdoor game. Like you're outside, you're in Tahoe, which probably isn't as busy as it normally is during regular times. I don't get the from the NHL's perspective, I don't get the sending Boston and Philly to Tahoe to play in Tahoe. Because it kind of, it kind of defeats your whole purpose of what the NHL has set out to do this year and trying to stay closer to home. Potentially, like that's why we have the realigned divisions. That's why we're, not having our regular Pacific and Central and Metro divisions. But nevertheless, I see where the NHL, I think, has done overall a better job of handling COVID and dealing with COVID and trying to mitigate it than say the NBA has. And the NBA has been traveling all around the country. They've obviously tried to make things tighter and restrict more stuff when it comes to the NBA and players hugging and jersey exchange and whatever. But no, the NBA All-Star Game, I don't get, and I think it's just purely revenues. Like it's literally they're just trying to get back revenue that they lost. That I don't see any other reason why you need an All-Star Game.
No, and this year you don't. Like all you want to do is get a season done and crown a champion. I remember Gary Bettman talking about that, like before the NHL bubble in Edmonton and Toronto happened. That to me, that's all you need to do. This isn't going to be on for much longer. It's not like we're in for another 2 years of a pandemic. Like it's the tunnel is the end of the tunnel is near. So it's very like just get through the season. You can do an All-Star game next year. The Olympics are coming up, so for NHL players going to the Olympics, for NBA players going to the Summer Games, who knows when that's going to be as well. Like you just gotta like get through it and keep people as safe as possible. And this is like the opposite of that. This is like you said, it's got to be about the money. I speculate, but it's got to be about the money for sure.
Well, and I know we've had this debate, and it's a bit of a moral dilemma in terms of just having bubbles and just putting players in bubbles to play these games where you're reducing the risk of COVID. And I know people don't like to talk about it. I know it's a touchy subject because the players are obviously away from their families. It's not ideal in a pandemic to have people, and I get that. I'm understanding of that. I just feel like if you really cared about people's health and safety and you want to play a season, like if those two things are aligned with one another, you do stuff in bubbles. And I know that we're already too far deep into the hockey season. I get that we're too far deep into the NBA season to revert back to bubbles.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think we would do that for playoffs either. I don't see that happening for playoffs, but you never know. It kind of just for myself goes back to the whole issue of why are we even traveling, and should we have just played in bubbles to begin with? But that's a whole nother debate and conversation.
Again, that's a big debate, and I mean, I've thought this, throughout the whole time, and we've chatted about this. It's really a thing of like, well, you got to find balance. Family, players aren't going to want to be away from their families, especially during this time as well, when maybe kids are home from school and maybe kids are like, it's a little concerning that way, and sometimes some of the wives like might have struggles with that, and like it might be a tricky situation for them, and having the players home a little bit more, which is not a bad thing, and it's like I like, again, to Ian's point, I like the NHL has definitely handled it better than the NBA and even all the other leagues combined, and the fact that they're in bubbles in their own divisions, which is okay, and that's fine, and it's a way to balance it. It's never going to be perfect unless you put it in a bubble, like Ian said, and I think the NHL's found they found a good balance of it all, and they've really done their best with what they could. And like I said before, it's not for much longer, and that's the thing. Hopefully it'll be over soonish and we'll go back to a normal NHL soon enough.
My camera, I don't know if you can hear me, but my camera has just fucked up on me and doesn't want to seem to work. So if we're having technical difficulties on my end, of course. What a shocker. Yeah, and again, I feel bad. Hopefully this works now. There we go. I feel bad saying it because again, we've seen incidences with Tuukka Rask, let's say, where Tuukka Rask obviously had to leave the bubble. Like he tried to make it work in the bubble, and it obviously didn't work. And he had a young child who was going through issues at the time, back in the summer. So yeah, I mean, I get that. I get that it's not easy. I just, if we want to do health, like if we want to promote health and safety, and we want to promote looking out for the players, just that's why I've been kind of advocating for a bubble. Who knows? Maybe we'll see it in like a baseball season or something too. I don't know.
And I think it might actually happen for the playoff, or at least some sort of modified bubble, where maybe like we talked about in the NHL preview podcast a couple weeks ago, the North and West might bubble during their playoff, and then the East and the Central might bubble. Who knows? But
yeah,
at least it could happen. And again, who knows what's going to happen for sure? But only time will tell.
The big asterisk that we should mention is that the players and owners have to agree to this.
Yeah.
Like that is a big asterisk that we should mention. Like nothing is going to happen unless the players and owners agree to it.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there. Not saying that's going to be a big deal because they've agreed to play in this season and they agreed to return to play last summer. Just throwing that out there. Just that little caveat that you can take with you. I guess we should talk about the world's longest hockey game that took place in Edmonton this past week, on a positive note.
Yep.
I believe so. Scott, you can correct me where I'm wrong here. Yep. It was a charity game in Edmonton. They played for over a week straight, I believe.
Yes. Let me get the exact number of hours for you.
Yeah, and I think they raised. Scott and I were chatting beforehand. I think they raised $1 million, over at least $1 million, maybe closer to $2 million. I believe for cancer research. Don't quote me on this. And
yes, cancer research.
And it was nice to see. So according to the CBC, $1.8 million for cancer research in Alberta, in Edmonton.
252 hours was the length of time. So that is over 10 days.
Over 10 days. So a week and a half straight of hockey.
It's basically 10 days and 12 hours. So it's 10 and a half days.
10 and a half days.
Great. Of hockey.
And I remember seeing a CBC News article, or not article. I was watching on TV. Excuse me. Where they had all the trailers and they had all this kind of accommodations and lodging set up for all the players in case there were COVID or in case there was outbreaks or whatever. And yeah, it was a successful event that we should probably mention that took place in Edmonton this past week.
Absolutely. And let's not forget, they were in minus 40 conditions.
Yes. I mean, I complain about it being cold here in Vancouver where it was maybe zero, maybe freezing. And those people were playing in minus 40, god awful temperatures.
Oh yeah.
So congrats to those people who took part in that. Congratulations for raising $1.8 million is what I have here on the CBC article. I don't know what you have for the final score. It might be debated, but
it'll be debated. It's guaranteed.
It says here the final score of the game was 2,649 to 2,528. Imagine being down 100 and it's just boys, I don't think we're coming back in this one. I mean, I know anything's possible. The Leafs lost 5-1 the other night, or they lost while leading 5-1. They lost 6-5 in overtime, but I don't know, guys. Might not be able to come back in this one.
100 goals in 12 hours. Who knows? Could be doable.
What was I? I think I was watching a Red Wings game the other day. It might not have been. Maybe it was the Canucks game it was the Leafs and the Canucks. Whenever they played one Saturday ago, and the Leafs had like 7 shots through 2 periods, and I'm like, I could get you 7 shots in 2 periods, and then I realized I maybe had like 2 shots a game, in my junior hockey, and that was again Pee-wee level, and that was just like.
And one of them was a tip. It wasn't even a shot.
I was gonna say it's literally garbage goals and just like going for the rebound. And
you're like the most dominant net front presence since Thomas Holmstrom.
That's a highlight of this podcast. I'll have to share that. I guess the other thing, at least
that's the clickbait title right there.
That's the clickbait. Best net front presence since Thomas Holmstrom.
There's another good one. Once we look back and watch this, and I'll be like, okay, that should be the footnote or the clickbait for sure.
The other thing we should mention, or at least I want to mention, Kamaru Usman with the UFC 258 win on Saturday against who did he fight on Saturday? Gilbert Burns. He fought Gilbert Burns, and Kamaru Usman won. And
that's his. I think, correct me wrong, that's his second straight fight that we've since I've been like sort of paying attention. I'm not a huge follower of the UFC, but
yes,
Usman won. Remember we were at Norman Rudy's and we watched the fights. Usman won the main fight that night, and he also won the ones a couple nights ago.
I was gonna say because he fought. I don't know if you remember how well you remember that night. He fought Masvidal 5 rounds on Fight Island,
right?
And that was just the stomping fight that we stayed till the end, and it was just a fucking shitty fight because it was just stomping. Like there wasn't any action. Was
this fight a little bit better?
Oh, this was much better. This was a 3rd round knockout by Usman. Even though, because Usman actually got knocked down. He got like knocked down because Burns caught him. Yeah. And then I think it was also in the 1st round where Burns, like he landed 1 shot, but he missed on the 2. He got the 1, but he missed on the 2. And if he caught him with the 2, Usman was done. Usman would have been over on the 2, but he missed the 2. And then Usman came back in the 2nd and 3rd round to win against Gilbert Burns. So congratulations to Kamaru Usman. That's his 3rd title defense, I believe.
Nigerian, what's his nickname?
Nigerian Nightmare.
That's the one.
So he beat Gilbert Burns, he beat Masvidal, and then he beat Colby Covington.
That was like almost a year ago now.
Over a year ago, I think it was. Now was the Covington fight.
Yeah. Just watching the game here. Colorado Vegas 3-2. So that's possible Western Conference final preview.
So I was discussing this with my dad. Vegas. We're recording this Tuesday night. Vegas is wearing their god awful gold helmets.
Terrible.
What would be like the ultimate hell of a uniform matchup would be maybe Toronto's reverse retro against Vegas with their gold helmets.
You said before Toronto's reverse retro not even that bad.
They aren't that bad. I want to just basically give the public what they want because I seem to be the only one who like is okay with Toronto's reverse retro.
They're not great. They're like the bottom 20.
They look okay with the whole actual uniform combination. They actually look better than just the jersey itself.
You're not
with a casual person wearing it. I should say Detroit's reverse retro against Vegas's uniform with the gold helmets. Maybe that's the ultimate hell of a uniform matchup.
I'd have to look at a few and think about what would really look bad, but yeah, there's debate there. For sure.
I was going to say probably in about a month or month and a half, we'll do a jersey, just a whole podcast dedicated to jerseys and just uniforms because we can go off on that.
Oh, absolutely. Also, Colorado's blue helmets are disgusting as well. With their home jerseys, they're terrible.
Oh, I didn't know if you meant like disgusting, like rape or like their blue pants are despicable.
Not good.
No bueno.
No bueno.
All right, new segment. We're gonna play a game on the SYP pod. This is my game that I've come up with. Scott is allowed to come up with his own games, but just I thought for content wise, we're going to play games here on this podcast. This game I'm calling Good, Bad, or Neither. Emphasis on the good and bad. Basically, Scott and I have to share 3 things with one another. Just 3 things, 3 anythings.
It could be literally anything.
Literally anything. And we have to say if it's good or bad or neither.
Can I use another adjective for bad? If it's like truly terrible, can I say terrible?
Sure. Yeah. No, it's good, bad, or terrible. Like we can go off on like however you want to do this. This is just the first time we're doing it. We're filling airtime. That's essentially what this is. And plus, it's a free podcast. It's not like people can complain about us giving them free content. So, my 3 things. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
You asked me questions first. I'm just thinking of my questions right now.
Okay, I have come up with questions. I'm gonna ask Scott 3 things, and ask him if they're good, bad, or terrible. Scott.
Yes.
Vancouver Canucks reverse retro jerseys. Good, bad, or terrible?
Haven't seen them on the ice yet, so I'm gonna say neither to start.
Okay.
I think my answer would actually be they're okay, but I have to see them on the ice first.
I think they're wearing them Friday against Winnipeg or Friday against Edmonton.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out for that.
Or Friday against Winnipeg. They're wearing them soon. Like they're wearing them within a week. They're wearing them.
I'm gonna say neither right now, but that could change for next week's pod.
Okay. Oranges, the fruit. Good, bad, or terrible?
Good. I grew up with them playing soccer. Mandarin oranges fucking slap. Their oranges are good.
Okay. All right. Personally speaking, I'm just gonna say I think oranges are the worst fruit.
Yeah, you're not an orange guy. You've made it very clear before.
I'm not an orange guy. I would always avoid them during the halftime soccer game because I didn't want all the juice running down me as I was playing. I didn't want to smell like orange.
You're sweating. It's just different colors.
No, but then it smells like orange, and then like the other team is just like, oh, look at this idiot who's got orange juice on.
Who cares what you smell like? You're going home shower anyways. You have goose shit.
No, but you're a kid. You're afraid of what others think about you, or is that just me personally?
I think if you're like 9, 10 years old, you don't give a fuck what anyone else thinks.
Okay, and then final thing, good, bad, or ugly, or terrible, whatever the last word we're going to use is. This season of The Bachelor so far. Your thoughts, good, bad, or terrible?
I don't want to say it's terrible. It's just bad.
It's just bad.
The Bachelorette's more entertaining because the guys I find are funnier. And a lot of the girls, it's just like stupid shit. Honestly, I didn't watch the last episode. I didn't want to watch the last episode. I just like.
You're getting turned off. Interesting.
Yeah, which is interesting. I think, like I said, I think The Bachelorette's a little more entertaining personally, and I watch it because it's entertaining. I think this shit's so funny. But it's just honestly this year it's just annoying right now. So we'll say bad. It's not terrible. It's just bad. How about that? I like Matt James. Matt James is good. He's a cool guy.
I was gonna say you watch The Bachelor or you watch The Bachelorette for the same reason I watch NASCAR and just that it's entertaining and it's fun to watch. And I'm really disappointed because apparently my girl Victoria got eliminated, so I can't use her for content every week now because that drove engagement.
It was absolutely terrible.
Oh, she was, but she drove engagement. Like that's what we were looking for. So in terms of insights, it was actually good having Victoria on, which is probably why she stayed as long as she did with the producers. Just kind of like yeah. So we'll get into that when the premiere or the season finale gets on. Scott, do you have 3 questions you want to ask me?
I do actually. I have one, and I'm going to come up with 2 others on the spot.
Okay, go for it.
So, question number 1.
Yes.
PlayStation 5, good, bad, or terrible / ugly / not worth it?
So, in case for people who don't know, I just got a PS4, I don't know, a month and a half ago. Yeah. So I've been playing PS4. PS4 has been good to me. I enjoy the PS4. PS5 looks good. I haven't played it yet. I was looking. I got all the way to the checkout line for a PS5, and then the page refreshed, and then it said it was out of or unavailable, or they sold out. So I'm going to say good, with the asterisks of I haven't played it yet, so I really don't know.
Okay.
That's the PS5. That's the PS5.
I said PS5, and that I know you have a PS4. PS4 is very good from what I know. But I'm just curious. Yeah, so it's hard to know without actually playing it.
Yes.
My next question.
Yes.
J.J. Watt, good. Is he? I guess the question is better. Is he overrated, underrated, or just right? So good, bad, ugly. Yeah.
Okay. So good question. I think he's good. I don't know. He's not the player that he was like when he was catching touchdown passes for the Texans many years ago now. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna say he's good. I think he's a good player still. I would sign him ASAP if given the opportunity. And also, just as a human being, he's a really good human being. Like he raised over $10 million for the city of Houston after the hurricane, if you remember. Hurricane Harvey. He raised a fuck ton of money for that city. So as a human being, he is a good human being, good player. JJ Watt, good.
Good. I like it. I was gonna say good too. Yeah, he's a good player, and he's probably the biggest free agent fish on the market this year. You would say, or he's up.
There's
he's
a bunch.
There's a bunch up there.
I was gonna say there's a bunch of wide receivers. Like Juju Smith is technically a free agent this year. Kenny Golladay, Allen Ross, like bunch of good wide receivers that are free agents out there. So look out for the free agents. But JJ Watt is actually like someone who just personally I would just sign no matter what my team is like at needs. Just as a guy, I would love to have JJ Watt.
Cool. My next question. We talked about this on the Left Side Heavy pod with Jevin last night, which has not been posted yet, but it'll be posted soon.
It comes out on Wednesdays.
Comes out Wednesday, yeah. So we talked about, briefly mentioned the Florida Panthers. They are second place in the NHL's Central Division. Are they good? Are they bad? Or are they like playing out of their minds and not actually as good as we think they are?
So I'll say good because I don't think they're bad. But I'm going to, like, there's a big but here with goaltending. Like Bobrovsky is not like he's a below 900 save percentage. Their backup is his name Drieger.
Yeah, I think it's Drieger. Yeah, I don't know.
Drieger. He's got like a 920 save percentage. So like he's really good, but they keep going to Bobrovsky, which has clearly been a failure. That's been a bust since Bobrovsky has got there. So and I like their forwards too. Like I like Huberdeau, I like Barkov. Owen Tippett, I think, is starting to get some time with the Florida Panthers as well.
Yeah, which is good. He's a good player.
Good player, Aaron Ekblad on the back end. So I'm going to say they're good. I'm going to say they make the playoffs, but their goaltending is a liability. That's what I'll say. It's a liability. Their goaltending.
Yeah. Good with a big asterisk. How about that? Good with a big asterisk.
Good with a but ... afterwards. So let's get to that's been SYP good, bad, or terrible. We'll come up with a better name for that. Maybe we'll do
insert that adjective here. Yeah.
A good, bad, insert adjective here. That's what I think we'll just use for the name of the game. Let's go to our mailbag. Let's go to our questions. Do you want me to ask yours first?
I mean, you're up to you.
I'll ask yours first. So you asked, Scott, which Tkachuk will end a career with more points, Matt, Brady, or Keith? Who do you think? Because I want to hear what your answer is first.
Personally, I think Brady's got the most offensive potential. He's also the youngest, and he's playing on a team where he'll get hella opportunities, and they're going to kind of build. I don't want to say around him, but they're going to build with him in the sense that they're going to get a center and a winger that, let's just say they draft a elite number one center and ends up playing wing with Brady Tkachuk. It's a pretty nasty line depending on who that center is going to be. So with that, you're going to get the opportunities in Ottawa than he would compared to like Calgary. Yes, maybe Tkachuk's the top dog in Calgary, but there's other players as of right now, Gaudreau, Monahan, Lindholm, Dubé, that are also getting offensive time and that are not necessarily like in all situations playing everything where Brady in Ottawa is. And I think it'll be Brady, but it'll be close because Keith's got a good amount of points actually.
I was going to say Keith just because it's a more defensive game today. Like it's not as easy to score as it was for Keith Tkachuk. I think the question is who's going to score more in their career, Brady or Matthew.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm gonna say Brady because I think he's actually more of a goal scorer, like offensive threat than Matthew is. And that's not to take away from Matthew. Like Matthew Tkachuk is actually like a really talented player. I don't think people talk about that enough. Is that he actually like he can put this like skills on you. Like Tkachuk's got some finesse to his game. Matthew Tkachuk, that is. Matthew Tkachuk got some finesse to his game. I just think Brady has more of it.
I agree.
So I'm going to say Brady scores more points than Matthew Tkachuk. I think there's a good chance he actually scores the least amount of points of those three.
Okay.
So I'm going to say Keith, Brady, Matthew.
Cool.
Next questions. These all come from our guy, Jevin. Again, he did the Left Side Heavy Pod. We did it with him last night. He does the Left Side Heavy Pod. Go check him out. We'll share some of his stuff too when it comes out. I think his pod comes out tomorrow, Wednesday. Go check that out when you get the opportunity. He first asked, what's the best podcast you've ever been on? And obviously Left Side Heavy for myself, because I can't think of any other podcast off the top of my head that I've been on. Although I guess this is just another shameless plug for myself. I'm going to be interviewed by some UBC students on Friday night in a live stream, which, I mean, that's pretty cool because I'm not going to UBC, but UBC students are interviewing me. So like that's kind of badass. Pretty ironic.
There you go.
Best podcast you've been on?
Left Side Heavy. That's the best and only podcast I've been on personally. I know I'm not going to name drop, but this year, for someone's birthday, they got a shout out from Spittin' Chicklets host Paul Bissonnette, and they got a personalized message. I thought that it was so cool. Not going to name.
Was that one of those cameos?
Yes. Similar. Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever gone on Cameo and you see how much like the cost of some of those are.
Pretty high.
It's pretty high, and it's very like. It's very inaccurate. I don't think because you can set your own price for those, right?
Yeah.
I don't think there are some guys who should be charging more than what they actually are for a cameo, but there's also some who are charging way less than they should be. So I don't know.
A lot of that's opinion based too, because you could think, for example, someone knows Ryan Reynolds super well, and it costs like 80, like whatever it is. I don't know the exact ballpark.
$80 or something. $80. Or whatever.
And then you go to like a Ryan Gosling, and they're like 120, even though they're, in my opinion, I think Ryan Reynolds is cooler than Ryan Gosling, but it just, in my opinion. So some people, I think Gosling's more popular than Reynolds, and it's just dependent on who you are as a person, and there's no set. It's never going to be set in stone, right? So,
and some people just do it out of their kindness of their heart, right? Like if you just want like a $50 message from Zach Cassian, you can get a $50 message from Zach Cassian. Like that's just how it works. But
yeah. So anyways, this particular friend of mine got a message from Paul Bissonnette, and I'm like, I got to see it. I'm like, damn, that's pretty cool. And he actually is pretty funny. It was very personalized, and like it was super cool, which was kind of fun to be a part of. And yeah, it's cool.
So do you get like a text, or do you get an email?
You get I don't know exactly, but it was like you get sent a video message straight up.
Okay.
I'm sure it was through email, and then you just download the video, and yeah, it was pretty cool.
All right. Next question from Jevin. This one's pretty much for myself. I don't think you'll be able to answer this one, Scott, but you might get a kick out of it. Fuck, marry, kill. Nathan Peterman, who is obviously the quarterback, most famously, who threw, I think, 5 interceptions in one half against the LA Chargers when he was the quarterback. Jamarcus Russell, who was the first overall bust of the Oakland Raiders, and Deshaun Kaiser, who was a former Notre Dame Fighting Irish second-round pick of the Cleveland Browns. Fuck, marry, kill. I'm going to have to kill Nathan Peterman. Sorry, Nathan. I got to kill you, man. Not your fault. If I had to marry one of these quarterbacks, I think it would be Deshaun Kaiser. He went to Notre Dame. He's a good Catholic. Seems like a very nice man. It's too bad his football career hasn't taken off, but that's why I'm going to marry Deshaun Kaiser. Seems like a nice, good Catholic man that I could use in my life. And then I'd fuck Jamarcus Russell because I'm also a Notre Dame fan too, which there's part of that. Also, I'd fuck Jamarcus Russell because of the like that dude's like 6'5", 225 coming out of LSU going into the NFL. That dude's still got some athletic genes in him that I could use.
With big hands, probably.
Big hands. We can make some NCAA babies together, some Div 1 kids. So yeah, fuck Jamarcus Russell, marry Deshaun Kaiser, kill Nathan Peterman. That's my fuck, marry, kill list from Jevin. And then finally, Jevin asks us, chicken or beef burgers? Don't ask why I'm asking this. Scott, chicken or beef burgers? Asking for a friend, yes.
Depends where it's from. My favorite, actually, people probably don't know this. My favorite burger of all time, anywhere, any restaurant that I've currently been to, is the Cajun chicken burger from the Watershed Grill in Squamish. So good. That's my favorite burger. Normally, I'm a beef burger guy, but I can go kind of between the chicken burgers, depending how it's made, depending where it's from, and the beef burgers.
That's a Cajun chicken burger from Watershed.
Yes.
Right? I haven't been to Watershed in like. I think the last time I went to Watershed was maybe for our school project or what our French project. Were you there?
Right. Yeah, that was grade 11. I think that was.
I think you're right. I think that was the last time I went to Watershed. Parking there is such a bitch.
You're better off just to bike there or walk there. Even.
Yeah, just walk to Watershed. That's our advice. If you know, you know. Me personally, I'm gonna say the beef. I'm more of a beef burger guy. Although, trying to think where. I don't think you would know this, Scott, but basically my favorite burger joint was Burger 55 in Penticton.
Okay.
They're not there anymore. They used to. I'm trying to think of where they used to be off the main street in Penticton. Love Burger 55, great burger joint. I'm more of a beef burger guy than a chicken guy, although I will say a good turkey burger or a good salmon burger is also very nice to have. I want to mention those burgers as well. I don't know if I would prefer them over a beef burger, but if given the opportunity, like if someone says we're gonna have salmon burgers tonight, I'm like, oh, okay, that'll be good. Or turkey burgers too. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can live with that. That sounds nice. So, yeah, beef burger over chicken burger.
Depends what it's from, but
yes,
I'm gonna say beef burger over chicken burger as well.
All right. Anything else before we wrap up here? Before we head out here? Any final hot takes, or do you want to just preach about your boy Max Comtois?
Oh yeah, he's got 7 goals this year, and he's part of a Duck squad that will make the playoffs. That is that's not my hot take. It's just a take.
It is your hot take.
Yeah, it's my hot take. They'll make the playoffs this year. I picked them to make the playoffs, so it's not really a hot take. And John Gibson in the short season will play 40 games, and he will win a lot of them, hopefully.
Did we make a bet on if Comtois will actually be the leading scorer on this team? Because leading
goal scorer, leading point scorer.
Both. Like that just seems not great if Max Comtois. I like the guy. I think he's great. I just don't know if he should be leading the Ducks in goal scoring.
He shouldn't be. It should be Raquel or Silverberg. Raquel's taking a massive step back, and I don't know why. Maybe he's just not as good. He had 2 or 3 good years. He had 30 goals one year.
And it might just be this season. It might just be with all the circumstances.
He was bad last year. He wasn't as good last year too.
No, but it might, again, this season is obviously just circumstances. You don't know what's going on in somebody's life either. Just all the shit that's going on with 2020, 2021.
Well, he's happily married now, if that helps. So that should be, if anything, would help, you think.
I wouldn't know anything about that. So congrats to Raquel.
Yes.
I don't really have any final takeaways here. I'll just do the plugs. So obviously we got the website. We got the new speakyourpiece.ca. I did a rugby recap on Sunday. Go take a look at that. Basically, I'm going to be doing weekly posts on that. Maybe longer Sunday reads. I think it's maybe what I'll try and aim for on Sundays before I have to crunch all my homework that afternoon, day before. So website, obviously YouTube. So I've been posting more clips of our podcast on YouTube. What did we give his title, Armin? What do we say his title is?
Armin's our executive marketing director.
Executive marketing director and late for every fucking meeting ever. Armin said that I need to save up for a YouTube camera. So you can help by subscribing to YouTube. Subscribe to our channel, like our vids. I post more clips. We're going to be doing obviously more YouTube stuff when we do the events this summer. So take a look at that. Be on the lookout for that. Obviously, you can listen to this podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. You can watch this podcast on YouTube, of course. Just be sure to subscribe or like wherever this is. Obviously, we're on Instagram at Speak Your Piece. We're on Twitter, Speak Your Piece 3. We're on Twitch, SYP Streams. Once school's over, I'm just gonna go ham on like Twitch streaming, and people can see how awful I am at NHL 19.
Yeah, and Fortnite. Let's not forget about Fortnite. Come on.
And Fortnite, you can see me fail at Fortnite. Trying to think if there's anything else. I'm sure I'm missing something, but anyways, go look at the website. Go look at our YouTube. Go on our social media channels. Go like, subscribe to everything. All things Speak Your Piece. Obviously, the hoodies are coming up too. Things are coming up for Speak Your Piece. Let's go.
Yeah, and even through this is kind of a quiet period for sports in general, but also us, and it's for content and what we're making do, and we'll keep trying to grow the brand. And we've got I think 450 something followers now, which is great, and we keep it up. We love the support, and we're really hoping to get to be big. So.
We're trying to get to, I think 475 is maybe the goal for the end of this month. So try and get us to 475 by the end of this month. Maybe 500 by the end of the school year. How about that? 500 followers by the end of the school year. Who says no?
I'm for it. Yeah, I'm for it.
And again, sorry, there's no Caslow appearance this week. Caslow has been sleeping on the couch after a good walk today. He's been a good boy. 10 out of 10, good doggo.
Very good dog. That's what SYP mascot right there.
That's our SYP mascot. Again, thank you very much for listening. Anything else before we go, Scott? Perfect. All right. That's the podcast. Thank you very much for listening. We'll be back again next week. And please go support Jevin. Go support us. And thanks for all your support. Peace out.